$326 billion is the preliminary amount of losses caused by Russia to Ukraine after it unleashed a full-scale war. This is the direct physical damage which the Ukrainian government was able to verify with the World Bank experts as of early September.
The damage continues to be inflicted as long as the hostilities continue, as long as the rocket fire continues and the active phase of the war continues in the southeast of Ukraine. This means that we do not have a conditionally absolute amount that does not concern the interests of either individual legal entities or an amount that would relate to the assessment of the damage caused by the Russian Federation in the territories that were deoccupied, but which would characterize the total amount of economic losses for Ukraine.
If it is too early to talk about the amount of compensation, then now it is necessary to work on mechanisms for how exactly to make Russia pay reparations, experts say.
The negotiations within the UN framework is important because almost all countries of the world are present here. And if a decision that politically Russia must answer for the war, and this will be economically connected with the payments of compensations to Ukraine is made, then it will be easier for our foreign partners to help us. Because today about 30 or 40 countries have imposed sanctions against Russia. Many countries today support Ukraine, but they did not impose sanctions. And if there is an appropriate legal document, then the specific process of continuing sanctions and forcing Russia to compensate the corresponding damage will be going on a little easier.
According to experts, there are two ways Ukraine can get reparations. The first is the alienation of the seized assets of Russia in the West, that is, the frozen accounts of the central bank and Russian businessmen who fell under sanctions. This is a little over $300 billion. However, this requires that Ukraine's partner countries under whose jurisdiction the money is located amend their own legislation.
These countries are heterogeneous. That is, the United States has one legal system, Canada has a different legal system. If we are talking about the countries of the European Union, this is also a different legal system that differs from the norms and rules and case law. The mechanisms for the United States are probably simplified, more simplified in terms of the arrest and, say, transfer of assets of the Russian Federation in favor of the injured party, because they can accept legal documents for a specific particular case.
Such a mechanism for paying compensation to Ukraine will be discussed at a meeting of the UN General Assembly on November the 14th. There is another method, forcing Russia to pay reparations directly after the end of the war.
There are several conditions needed in order to direct payments to be made from the money that Russia now controls. The first condition is that there must be certainty in how we will win this war. One situation is if the Federation signs a surrender, and then it is enough to simply negotiate with a country that capitulates. Another situation is a search for a certain international mechanism that would force Russia to pay this money.
In order to make the aggressor compensate for all the damage caused to Ukraine after the end of the war, experts suggest not to lift sanctions from Russia until the full amount of reparations is paid. Reported by Dana Kolesnik, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.